Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamutiraye Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna and pranams to all the assembled Vaishnavas. Today we are going to Sri Anant Padmanabh temple in Kerala, Trivandrum. That is the last city in Indian map down south, and further crossing Trivandrum, then we will be reaching Sri Lanka. So we welcome you all devotees to this holy town and the holy temple organized by RG Media Online Yatra. So welcome. And this holy place, Thiruvananthapuram, that's what traditionally it's named as, is mentioned in 6 Puranas out of 18 Puranas. Original name of this city, Trivandrum, in Puranas is Shyanandurapura. Shyanandurapura means the place where Lord eternally resting or sleeping, Shayana. Shyanandurapura, where Lord enjoys his sleep. So, as per scriptures, Lord is eternally performing some pastimes in different holy tirthas. For example, in Jagannath Puri, Lord is always having his meal, always enjoying food. And in Badrinath, Lord is always meditating. In Dwaraka, Lord is always ruling. So like this, in each and every holy place, Lord is eternally performing some pastime. In the same way, in Thiruvananthapuram, Trivandrum, Shyanandurapura, Lord is eternally resting. So it seems once in 6 years, Lord will turn from his left side to right side, then rest. Then another 6 years, he will turn from right side to his left side and rest. So this place is always a resting place. One of the famous Acharya, he commented, he said, if I want to take rest, I will prefer going to Shyanandurapura and resting because Lord is also resting there. So it's a beautiful 1,000-year-old temple built by, major portion of this temple was built by Kulasekara Maharaja, one among the 12 Alvars of Sri Sampradaya. So even today, some major portion of this temple is named under Raja Kulasekara. Kulasekara Raja was once upon a time the ruler of Travancore, the Trivandrum city, and he wrote the famous Mukundamala Stotra from this city. So first let us go to this temple. It's a beautiful temple, and the temple is situated in 9 acres ground in the heart of the town. It's a perfect square place, and the whole area of the temple is 9 acre, and in the middle, Lord is residing under a golden tomb. And now this Trivandrum Ananta Padmanabh temple has got the richest treasure in the world. I don't know how you calculate it. It is 1 followed by 12 zeros grams of gold. I don't know how much it is. 1 followed by 12 zeros grams of gold is lying under Sri Padmanabhji, and Sri Padmanabhji is lying on top of this huge treasure. It's an amazing temple, very beautiful, ornated prakaras, and you can see wonderful piece of architecture in this temple. The history is connected to many, many great saints, right from Shankaracharya, Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya had visited this temple, Pandavas have visited this place. When Kurukshetra battle was going on, Balram came and stayed here. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. Then Nityananda Prabhu came. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur came. Many, many wonderful personalities, including Vyasadev, they all have visited this place. So it's an amazing place. And the glories of Sri Anant Padmanabhji states, if a person simply sleeps in this town overnight, his going back to Godhead is guaranteed. So such a wonderful place. That is Sri Anant Padmanabh's holy abode, and we welcome all the devotees here. The history of this temple is connected to the great Vilva Mangal Thakur. It says it is Vilva Mangal, and some other scripture says it is Divakar Muni. However, a sage, a holy devotee, a pure devotee is connected to the pastime of this temple. In Kerala, there are many, many saints who were called Vilva Mangal. When we Gaudiya Vaishnavas, when we say Vilva Mangal, we refer to Leela Sukha, the author of Sri Krishna Karnamrita, Vilva Mangal Thakur, who became blind, who stayed in Vrindavan. But then what happened? Vilva Mangal Thakur traveled the whole of South India, and he initiated many, many disciples into bhakti. And all the sages, all the sannyasis, saints, they got the surname Vilva Mangal. So the Vilva Mangal name has become something like a sampradaya name. Like in ISKCON, we have Bhakti as the surname for sannyasis. Some other sampradayas has got Saraswati, Puri. So in Kerala, especially South Karnataka and Kerala, there are many, you go to any temple, all the famous Guruvayur temple, Udupi temple, you travel to any famous temple in South India, they have this surname, Vilva Mangal. So we don't know which Vilva Mangal Thakur is connected to Sri Ananta Padmanabhji, but the story goes in such a way where we can understand it is mostly our Vilva Mangal Thakur, but there is no exact reference to this. So, Vilva Mangal Thakur, and he was blind and he was in Vrindavan, and Krishna was assisting him. They had an intimate, intense relationship with the Supreme Lord. And Lord was assisting Vilva Mangal Thakur all the time, washing his garments and cooking for him, doing all kinds of menial assistance. That's amazing, So sometimes we wonder whether the Lord is serving his devotee or the devotees are serving the Lord. And it looks like a transcendental competition between both of them. Devotee is also taking care of the Lord and serving the Lord, and the Lord is also serving the devotee. And it looks like Lord wins the competition. And Vilva Mangal Thakur didn't realize that this boy who is serving me is the Supreme Person. And he was Krishna was performing all kinds of menial services for Vilva Mangal Thakur. At the same time, we all know Krishna is very naughty also. Krishna is very naughty. So it seems even once Vilva Mangal Thakur put Krishna inside a box and kept him closed, because this boy was very naughty. So, Vilva Mangal Thakur dropped him in some kind of a box and closed him for some time. And this is how, and how much ever Vilva Mangal Thakur advised this boy, Krishna never corrected himself. Lord was purposely doing mischiefs and all kinds of nakram. And Vilva Mangal Thakur actually didn't realize this is Supreme Lord, so he was getting a bit disturbed. So one day, Vilva Mangal Thakur has written something on the palm leaves. So sometimes devotees may wonder, he was blind, then how he composed songs and scriptures. Many scriptures Vilva Mangal Thakur composed, even though he was blind. And the famous one is Sri Krishna Karnamrita. And Lord Chaitanya liked it so much. So when Vilva Mangal Thakur composed something on the palm leaves, naughty Krishna came and tore it off, or threw it off. Then Vilva Mangal Thakur became very upset. So Vilva Mangal Thakur gave a pat, very affectionately he gave a pat and said, "Why are you troubling me so much? I don't need you. When you are there, I'm not getting any kind of help. Rather, I'm getting disturbed a lot. You're troubling me so much. I don't want to see you. You please leave this place." When Vilva Mangal Thakur chased Krishna, Krishna said, "I am going. I am leaving, and even if you call, I won't come back." Then Vilva Mangal Thakur said, yes, I don't need you. You go, you get lost. I don't want to see you. I don't want you be here. Then Krishna said, okay, I'm going. And if at all you feel that you should see me, you want to meet me, you come down to South India. And he gave an address. He said, come to Anantavan. There is a Vana, Anantavana. You come to Anantavana, then you can meet me there in South India. Vilva Mangal Thakur said, no, I don't want to see you. You go. I don't want to see you. If at all you want to see me, you come down to Anantavana. Krishna gave the address and Krishna left. When Krishna left, Vilva Mangal Thakur started feeling the separation. He was feeling restless. He was feeling uneasy because Lord has completely captured his heart. And Lord was physically present with Vilva Mangal Thakur, interacting with him every day and night, and their relationship was so intense. One Acharya is glorifying Krishna is as old as sun and as new as sunshine. Like in Brahma Samhita, we have this line, what is that? Yam Shyama Sundaram Machintya Gunaswarupam. And there is one more line. He's very old, Purana. At the same time, he's very new also. So Krishna is as old as sun and as new and fresh as sunshine. And Vilva Mangal Thakur's heart was completely captured by this devotion to Krishna. And when Krishna left, he started feeling uneasy. He was feeling emptiness. He was feeling uncomfortable. Then slowly Vilva Mangal Thakur realized it was the Supreme Lord who was interacting with me, playing with me, talking to me, helping me. And he was even doing assistance and menial activities for me. How sinful I am that I didn't realize the presence of the Lord. And I chased him. How many times I have spoken heavy words to him, cruel words, and he was repenting. And he was feeling so bad, and he was again and again blaming himself. Then the desire to meet the Lord again started. He was feeling, Vilva Mangal Thakur was feeling, I should meet the Lord again. I should go and see him. That desire started increasing so much in his heart. So he set his journey down South India. The blind Vilva Mangal Thakur. Vilva Mangal Thakur originally is from Karnataka. So the blind Vilva Mangal Thakur again set his journey to South India in search of Krishna. So he has just only one line, that the address says he can meet Krishna in Anantavana. That's all he knew. and no much detail. So throughout, something like the Shad Goswamis, they were searching for Krishna all the time. Hey Radhe, hey Vrajadevi ke Chalalite, hey Nandasuno Kutaha, where are you Krishna? Where are you Radharani? Where are you Gopis? Like the Goswamis were searching in the grooves of Vrindavan. Vilva Mangal Thakur started searching for Krishna and traveling from one place to another and asking, and nobody knew where this Anantavana is. So he traveled the whole length of Bharatavarsha, the whole length of this country, and came to extreme south of India. And he came down and he was roaming around asking everyone whom he met. And they all said, no, we don't know Anantavana, we don't know Anantavana. Then this blind Vilva Mangal Thakur, when he was traveling, he heard a lady singing lullaby trying to put her son to sleep. This lady has, in the field, in the paddy field, the lady had tied a cloth to the tree and her baby is sleeping in the cloth and she's swinging and she's singing to the boy saying that if you don't sleep, I will tie you in Anantavana. She used that line. She sang very beautifully, singing, saying that, oh my dear Lala, oh my dear son, if you don't sleep in time, I will tie you in Anantavana. And suddenly Vilva Mangal Thakur heard this line. He came to know, oh, Anantavana. Immediately he caught hold and he went and begged that lady and asked, where is this Anantavana? And that lady said, you go extreme south of this country, close to the ocean, there is a beautiful jungle which belongs to Lord Anantasesh, and there is Ananta's reference in that place, and that is Anantavana. So Vilva Mangal Thakur, became so jubilant and so ecstatic. His hairs were standing on the end. He was jumping and dancing, and he came to this particular place. When he came down there and he was singing beautiful songs for Krishna and begging forgiveness, Krishna, forgive me. I did so many mistakes. I chased you. I scolded you. Please. And he was crying with tears with his raised arms. When Vilva Mangal Thakur sang, a tree, a huge tree, the tree broke into two. And Vilva Mangal Thakur, the local scriptures, the Mahatmya of Tiruvananthapuram, it says that Vilva Mangal Thakur got his vision. He got his eyes back. He could see. Then he saw beautiful Krishna standing in front of this broken tree, a big tree. And Krishna having nice lotus-petaled eyes extended up to the ears, and eyebrows are all like dolphin. And when Krishna is blinking his eyes, it is going like butterflies. And he has got Makara Kundala, earring shaped like shark, like fish, and his neck like a conch shell, and beautiful lips like a vilva fruit. And Krishna is smiling and playing his flute. And Vilva Mangal Thakur saw this beautiful darshan of Krishna. His body started trembling and he was singing phrases and songs. And, he wanted to offer something. And he saw a small dry mango lying on the floor. So he took that dry mango and he got a coconut shell. So he kept that dry mango in the coconut shell and offered to Krishna. So even today, every day in Sri Anant Padmanabh Ji Mandir, every day morning they offer a dry mango, and they get dry mangoes 365 days in a year. And they place it in a golden coconut shell, in memory, in remembrance to that Leela. So every day Krishna is taking a raw mango, in a coconut shell. So now they have a golden coconut shell, but they offer raw mangoes every day. So Vilva Mangal Thakur sang beautiful songs and offered this mango to Krishna. And Krishna had this fruit. Then he merged in the tree, and the tree fell down with a huge sound. It broke, and it seems the tree was 18 miles long, something like that. Such a long tree, 18 miles long. And Anant Padmanabhji's deity, the tree god assumed the form of deity Ananta Padmanabhji, Lord Narayana, Vishnu lying on Ananta, huge deity, and the deity was also 18 miles long, 18-mile long. Then Vilva Mangal Thakur started singing the next song, saying, Krishna, how will I have your Padaravinda darshan? How can I see your lotus feet? How can I see your beautiful face like a moon? How can I see the lotus flower which you are holding in your beautiful arms? Then he sang the next song, because it will take days for me to take darshan because you are 18 miles long. If I start taking darshan from your foot to head, I have to travel up and down. How will I have your darshan? So when he sang the next song, the huge deity shrunk, and it became 18 feet long deity. So even if you come to, when you come to Ananta Padmanabhji Mandir today, you can see the deity is 18 feet long. You have to see the deity through 3 doors, One door you can see Lord's face, one door you can see the middle portion, another door you can see his, I think it is one of the longest deity in India, 18 feet long. And there are 3 doors. You can't take darshan in one single door. You have to take in 3 different doors. And even today, the place where Lord's head was, and that place is called Tiruvalla, and there is a Parshuramji Mandir. And where his feet was, that place is called Tripadapuram, and there Lord's feet is there. So originally the Lord was like 18 miles, then the Lord shrunk into 18 feet. So beautiful, beautiful deity, and the deity is Krishna, the Narayana, Vishnu is like looking up in the sky and very artistically holding a lotus flower, and something like he's smelling the flower. Then in one hand he has got chakra, another he has got gada. Then you can see Brahmaji coming out of his navel, then Lakshmiji at his lotus feet. It's like so beautiful. It's like a painting, huge one on the wall. And the deity covers the whole sanctum sanctorium. That Sri Kovil, what a Garbhagraha. He covers the whole, occupies the entire Garbhagraha. Very beautiful deity. And one speciality of this deity today is the deity is not made out of one stone. Anant Padmanabhji will look like one stone, but it is not one stone. We will be surprised to know 12,000 tiny shalagrams are put together with an Ayurvedic paste, and that's what is the deity. Nobody will believe it. When they see like a black stone deity of Anant Padmanabhji, but it is not a single deity, not a single stone. 12,000 shalagrams. It's all kept with an Ayurvedic cement, Ayurvedic paste, and it's made. That is why Anant Padmanabhji never gets an abhisheka. They never do abhisheka. What they do is every day they clean the deity with just a peacock broom, the peacock feathers. That's all. They just dust the deity, and they will never touch the deity nor clean the abhishek, use water, because it is just a paste, and 12,000 shalagrams are like, put together with the paste. Amazing. We don't see this kind of vigraha anywhere else. 12,000 shalagrams in an Ayurvedic paste. So almost like 6 Puranas have glorified this deity, Anant Padmanabh. And even in Mahabharata it is mentioned, when Kurukshetra battle was going on, Balramji, he didn't take part in Kurukshetra battle, so he traveled south and he came to Anant Padmanabh Mandir, and he stayed for some time in Anant Padmanabh Mandir. And Ramanuj, as I said, all acharyas and great personalities, they've all come. And one beautiful thing is, in the main Garbhagriha, that sanctum, that room, deity room, Lord Anant Padmanabh is lying, and Ananta's one side is touching one end of the wall, and Lord's feet is touching the other end of the wall. That means the deity is touching both ends of the wall. Because of that, no devotee had ever seen what is behind the deity. They have never seen what is behind the deity. Pujaris say many times they can hear the sound of waves. And the deity is something like 5-6 kilometers away from the ocean. But still, the pujaris can hear. They say they always hear the sound of waves. And if you want to peep what is on the other side, you have to climb on the deity, because the deity is so huge. The deity is like 18 feet long and something like 6-7 feet tall. So no pujari can see what is on the other side. If he has to see, then he has to climb on the deity, and they don't do that. Nobody does that. So the pujaris say they always hear the beautiful sound of waves. So one pujari, he wanted to know what is actually behind the deity. So he took a ring and tied to thread, and he dropped that ring on the other side. The ring was going in with no end, and he made knots and knots, and he used so much of thread, so much of bundles of thread, but it's still, the ring was going deeper and deeper and deeper. After some time, the pujari got tired and he pulled the ring back. He pulled the thing back, and there was no ring at the end of the thread. The ring disappeared. After many months, a fisherman, he came to the palace of the king and said, "Oh Lord, oh king, I got this ring from a fish, and when I saw the sign of Anant Padmanabh temple, I could realize this is something very valuable, so I wanted to return it." Then the king saw this is the head priest ring because it has got the sign of Anant Padmanabh. Then he called the head priest, and this story is not some historic story or some Puranic story. This one has happened some few hundred years back, like 150 years back. Then the king summoned the pujari and asked the pujari, what happened to your ring? And the pujari said, this is what happened. I wanted to know what is on the other side. Then the ring is lost. Then the king said, is this your ring? The pujari said, yes. A fish had swallowed your ring. That means the deity is connected to the ocean. And from that day, the pujaris became very respectful, because on the other side, they still believe that's ocean. Amazing. And they say they hear the sound of waves regularly. And when you take darshan, then you come out of that main sanctum, such a calm, soothing place. As I told, the temple is situated in 9 acres ground in the middle, and it's like full of ocean sand everywhere. And there is a traditional Krishna temple. So they locally call it Ambadi Krishna. Ambadi means Gokul. In the local version, it is called Gokul Krishna. And they say this Krishna deity is even more older than Anant Padmanabh deity. And there is a beautiful standing Krishna. One more interesting thing about the west coast of India, right from Goa up to Cape Comorin, Kanyakumari, there are many Krishna temples. You can take Udupi Sri Krishna temple, then in Kerala, Guruvayur, Tripurayar, Anant Padmanabh Ji. In the west coast of India, there must be at least some 40 to 50 temples, Krishna temples on the west coast, and all these deities are from Dwarka. The 16,108 wives of Dwarka, they all had personal Krishna deity because Krishna married them and Krishna was spending all the time with Pandavas. Once even Narada went and asked in Dwarka, where is Krishna? And Rukmini Mata said, I don't know. He's most of the time in jungle in Hastinapur with the Pandavas, Krishna is always there spending time with Pandavas. So the queens actually were worshipping Krishna's deity. Each one of them had a personal deity. Then when Dwaraka disappeared from the material vision, when Dwaraka sank inside the ocean, disappeared into the ocean, the deities floated and came to the west coast of India, and many sages like Madhvacharya took this deity from the ocean and established, that is Udupi, and so many sages established. So Anant Padmanabh Ji also had got a Krishna temple, Krishna deity, and they say that is from Dwarka, a beautiful Krishna temple there. And every day they sit and sing. It's so nice, very traditional. You can see in the evenings and mornings, the local villagers, they come and they all sing songs, glorify Krishna, glorify Anant Padmanabh Ji. And the evening festival in Anant Padmanabh Ji, it's so royal. We should see the moment you witness this festival in Anant Padmanabh Ji Mandir in the evenings, immediately you will be taken centuries back. You will feel like you are in 15th century or 16th century or something like that. The deities, all the three, there are three deities, Anant Padmanabh Ji, Sri Krishna and Narsingh Dev. All the three deities, they come out. Some days they come on golden palanquin. Some days they come out on a silver. Some days they come on a Kalpavriksha palanquin. There are different kinds of palanquin. Gajavahana, elephant palanquin. Indravahana, Indra's palanquin. Kalpavriksha Vahana, desire tree palanquin. Lord will come in, different palanquins, and and in the front there are devotees playing all kinds of musical instrument with all shenai and trumpet and mridangas, and people will be very ritualistically chanting mantras, and they will bow down like servant of the Lord, and the Lord will be majestically, royally going around the temple, and behind the Lord, devotees will be chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and going. That's an amazing thing. We can see hundreds of devotees every day evening behind Anant Padmanabh Ji. They chant, Hare Krishna, but traditionally they chant Hare Rama first. But it's whatever it is, it's so beautiful. And they will be chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and going around, like behind the deity. So beautiful, and the festival in the night goes on almost like 40-45 minutes. Then the Lord is taken back again into the main temple deity room, and the doors are closed. And when the doors are closed, the devotees come and sit outside the door, and with the beautiful instruments, they put Lord to sleep. They sing. They say, Krishna, you were grazing cows the whole day. Your legs must be tired. So Krishna, please go to sleep. You must be running from your mother. Your mother wanted to feed you butter, but you escaped from her and you were running in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaja's house. Your tender body would be tired. Krishna, please go to sleep. The gopis would have made you dance and dance and dance for their tunes. You would have been tired. Please go to sleep. All the great devas, Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu, Agni, they must have met you and spoke to you for hours and hours. My Lord, you would be tired. Please go to sleep. So they sing a beautiful, melodious bhajan. And if we know the meaning, we can really relish and enjoy it. Then once the bhajan is over, they slowly reduce the volume and they bow down and they walk outside of the temple. They don't turn back. They don't show their back to their deity. They walk, on the reverse. They walk reverse, with bowing their head, they walk reverse. And as they go out of the main temple, the lights are off and slowly they close the temple and they go out. So personal, that worship is very beautiful and very personal, and they close down the temple and the temple again opens at 4:15 in the morning. So all those rituals and pujas, they are done very meticulously, royally, and twice in a year, Lord goes out. He goes out to the ocean for a bath. They carry the Lord in a palanquin, on elephant. And this happens only in Trivandrum, nowhere else in the world. Airport is shut down twice a year when the Lord goes to bath. Because originally where Trivandrum Airport is, that is Anant Padmanabhji's playing ground, Lord's playing ground. And the palace people, the royal people, donated the land to Airport Authority of India. And when they donated the land to Airport Authority of India, they had a condition: 2 days in a year, that place should be given for the Lord. So even today, 2 days in a year, half a day, the airport is shut. All the flights are postponed or preponed or cancelled. And Lord majestically, royally goes through the airport, through the runway. They open the gates and all hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people singing kirtan, bhajan, and with army protection, reserve police on the horses in the front and the police on the horses from behind, and with army. Lord goes on an elephant followed by thousands of devotees going across the airport, through the runway, and going to the ocean for the bath. And airport is closed for that few hours, half a day. Amazing, amazing. I don't think that this can happen in anywhere else in the world, So Lord goes to bath twice a year and he enjoys his pastime and he comes back, And when we speak about Anant Padmanabhji Mandir, we can never miss King Kulasekara. And Prabhupada appreciated King Kulasekara's Mukundamala Stotra so much. And Prabhupada always used to quote this famous shloka, Krishna Tvadiya Padapangaja Panjarantam Adyaiva Vishatu me Manasaraja Hamsa Prana Prayana Samaye Kapavata Pittau Kantavarodana Vidau Smaranam Kutaste. This amazing, wonderful the shloka quoted by, always Prabhupada used to quote this. It says, Raja Kulasekara is singing, "Oh my dear mind, my mind, you are like a swan. Right now, you are enjoying the ambrosial nectar oozing from the lotus feet of Krishna. And my dear swan, you are swimming across, in between the legs of Krishna. Now I am able to meditate your lotus feet." So affectionately, so lovingly, Krishna, let me leave my body at this very moment because I am able to meditate on my Lord so beautifully. Mukundamala Stotra is such a wonderful composition, so deep. In one shloka, Kulasekara Maharaja is saying, "Oh idiot, if you are having disease, you are ailing with health, if you are struggling, and if you have joint pain, my dear idiot, don't take medicine. Krishna Rasayanam Piba, open your ears and simply drink the beautiful nectar, which is holy name of Krishna. The amazing book, Mukundamala Stotra. So Kulasekara Maharaja was the erstwhile king of this great city, Thiruvananthapuram. And he was like, 1200 years back. Kulasekara Maharaja ruled Travancore, and even today, many portion in this temple is named after the king. Some places are called Kulasekara Mandapa and Kulasekara, everything is named under Raja Kulasekara. And the royal symbol of Raja Kulasekara was conch shell. Conch shell was his symbol. So even today in Trivandrum, you go to any government offices, the secretariat building, the collector's house, collector's building, you go to any library, colleges, university, any building in Travancore, Trivandrum, Thiruvananthapuram, you can see the conch shell, that symbol, conch shell symbol, because Raja Kulasekara's symbol was conch shell. And all the towns in Trivandrum district, it's all named after the Lord. The places are called Srivaraham, Balaramapuram, Vamanapuram, Rishimangalam. Even today, the place where the ISKCON temple is, this town is called Balaramapuram. So you can, all the towns, most of the towns in Trivandrum is still named after different avatars, forms of Krishna. Very beautiful. So Raja Kulasekara ruled Thiruvananthapuram, and he was worshipping the deity for so many years. He was a great, ardent, intimate, intense, undivided devotee of Lord Ramachandra. The deity which was worshipped by Raja Kulasekara is still there in Anant Padmanabh temple. Every day morning, people can take darshan of the deity, just for like 15-20 minutes. The deity is not for public darshan. Only for 15 minutes, you can take the darshan of the deity, Lord Ramachandra, Lakshmana, Hanuman, Sita Devi, which is a personal deity of Raja, Maharaja Kulasekara. And such a wonderful person. His palace was full with Brahmanas and Vaishnavas all the time. And he used to serve Vaishnavas so much, like Sanatan Goswami was paying 1,000 obeisances every day. Raja Kulasekara also had some kind of a system. I have to feed so many Vaishnavas, I have to associate with so many Vaishnavas. So you go to his palace or inside Anant Padmanabhji Mandir, you go anywhere, it was flooded with Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. And Raja Kulasekara was spending all the time with them. This irritated the ministers. Ministers had their own concern. If our king is going to spend all the time with these Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, how our king is going to attend to the royal things, how he will take care of country, how he will manage the country. Enemies can attack, enemies may get the news that the king is inattentive, they can attack, that will be a threat for the country. And this developed some kind of concern within the ministers. But no one had the courage to go and talk to Raja Kulasekara. And Raja Kulasekara had all these Brahmanas. And morning to night, he was sitting and listening to Ramayana, Bhagavad from the sages and Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. So one day it happened when Raja Kulasekara was very attentively listening to Ramayana. And the sages, the Rishi Brahmanas were reading that our dear Sita Mata, was kidnapped by Ravana. When Raja Kulasekara heard this, immediately he got up from the place and he screamed and he called his minister and said, "Let us wage a war against Lanka. Arrange the army, set the army ready, let us go." So in these kinds of things were happening with Raja Kulasekara. In the dreams, in the dead of the night, king will get up and scream and say, "I'm going to attack Ravana, I'm going to attack Lanka, I'm going to do..." And this became a big concern for the ministers. Our king is going out of control. So they thought, with the family members, something we should do and stop the king. Otherwise, this will go out of control. So what shall we do? The best thing is to chase out all these Vaishnavas from the palace and the temple. Because of their company, because of their association, our king is becoming like this. Chase them all out. How to chase them? King will become very angry. So they made a plot. They stole the beautiful jewel of Lord Ramachandra, the personal deity of Raja Kulasekara. The Lord Ramachandra had a beautiful necklace studded with gold, ruby, emerald, sapphire. I am not exaggerating. In this temple, everything is to do with gold only. Lord gets Abhisheka, the smaller deity, Utsava Vigraha gets Abhisheka in water. The water is carried in a golden pot. Festival days, there are 108 golden pots. Everything is gold, gold, gold. So that necklace which Lord Ramachandra wore was missing. The ministers told that. And next day, when Maharaja Kulasekara came in the morning for darshan, then he opened the temple, then he came for puja, then he found out the necklace is missing from Lord Ramachandra. The king became very disturbed. He asked the pujaris, and the pujari said, we don't know, we don't know. Then he asked the ministers, and the ministers said, how do we know? Because only these Vaishnavas are hanging in this place from morning to night. Maybe one of them might have stolen that. The ministers wanted to put the blame on the Vaishnavas so that the king will send out these Vaishnavas, send them out. This was their original plan. And the minister said, how do we know? Maybe one of the Vaishnavas had taken it. We were telling them not to allow these people too much. When the ministers blamed Vaishnavas, Raja Kulasekara became very upset. He said, Vaishnavas will never steal. Then minister said, then who else? Nobody else is there in the temple. Only Vaishnavas are there. They must have taken it. Then Maharaja Kulasekara said, if at all Vaishnavas had taken it, there must be some genuine reason. Anyway, I will take that punishment on behalf of them. And he said that, and he asked his men to brought a pot with a narrow neck, and they dropped a poisonous viper inside, cobra, snake inside. And Raja Kulasekara dropped his hand inside and said, if Vaishnavas had taken the necklace, I will suffer the punishment. I will suffer the sin on behalf of them. Let the snake bite me. And he pushed his hand inside the pot. The ministers never expected this. They started trembling. They felt very bad. They begged again and said, sorry. We only took the mala, we wanted to chase these people away. We never knew that you will do this. You will take such an extreme decision. Please forgive us. We only, the ministers begged forgiveness. And the king very lovingly asked, why are you so much troubled? The minister said, you are spending all the time for bhakti. You are not attending to the country's affairs. How the country will be managed? Then Kulasekara Maharaja said, Lokasya vyasana apanodana karo dasasya kim nakshamaha. If my Lord can maintain 14 planetary systems so beautifully, he can't maintain his servant's kingdom? Is that so difficult for my Lord? Simply you believe, but still the ministers were not convinced. So Maharaja Kulasekara did the amazing thing. He gave up the kingdom on the very same day. He gave up the kingdom and told the ministers, you manage it. And Maharaja Kulasekara took sannyas, renunciation. Then he traveled to Srirangam. And rest of his life, he was serving Ranganathji and spending time. Amazing king. And the king, Raja Kulasekara, he established so many beautiful systems in this temple. Wonderful, the way of worship. And if we read that Mukundamala Stotra book, we will know, we can understand the level of devotion Maharaja Kulasekara had. Then when you circumambulate the temple, then we will see beautiful Narsinghadev deity, Yoga Narsingha, and the Yoga Narsimha form is very rare. Mostly we see Lakshmi Narsimha or Varaha Narsimha or Prahlada Varada Narsimha. These are the deities we mostly see. But here we have Yoga Narsimha, Lord Narsinghadev sitting on a yoga posture, sitting on a yoga posture. And there is a beautiful thing when one of the kings, not Raja Kulasekara, another king, and all these kings were wonderfully devoted to Lord Anant Padmanabh. They were very ardent, very sincere devotees. So his enemy somehow bribed the Pujari of Narsinghadev. And they said to the Pujari, when the king comes for darshan and he will ask for charnamrita, charnatirtha, mix poison in that and feed him. And the Pujari took bribe from the enemies of the king, and one day he mixed poison in charnamrit. And he served charnamrit to the king. The king took 3 sips of charnamrit and chanted Narsinghdev's mantra. He sang the songs of Narsinghadev and prayed, and the Pujari right in front of Narsinghadev fell down dead. The king had charna poison, but the Pujari was killed. Pujari fell down dead right in front of Narsinghadev. So, the Narsinghadev, his eyes are like bluish color, very fearsome, and very beautiful deity on the right-hand side of Anant Padmanabh. So it's like, Anant Padmanabh in center. One side we have Krishna temple, another side we have Narsinghadev, and in one corner is Raja Kulasekara's Lord Ramachandra. Then the Parikrama Marg is so big, so beautiful, And every day morning, even today, the king, the prince will come for darshan. The temple is not under government. The temple is still under the royal family. It's under the palace. They are still maintaining the temple. And they have a wonderful system. They have their crown. And the crown has got 2 shoes. Ananta Padmanabhji's shoes on the crown. So the system originally was, the king used to come in the morning and in the night to temple. Morning he will come, take the crown. The crown was kept inside a sanctum, inside the deity room next to the Lord with the shoes. And in the morning the king will come, pay his obeisances, and he will take the crown and wear it on top of his head. Then he will go to manage the country. Then evening he will come, give a full report what has happened in the day, and leave the crown back in the temple, and he will go. And all the kings in Trivandrum, they got this surname, Sri Padmanabha Dasa Martanda Varma. Sri Padmanabha Dasa Balarama Varma. They all had this prefix, Sri Padmanabh Das. Every king is known by that name, Sri Padmanabh Das. And their crown had 2 big shoes of Anant Padmanabh. They wear that crown, manage the country, and bring back. And if one day, if at all, the king was sick and he couldn't pay attention, he couldn't pay his pranams to Anant Padmanabh, next day he will come and pay a fine. He pay 1 gold coin fine. So somehow the system has diluted now. Now they pay, some money as fine. Earlier it was like 1 gold coin fine. But even now, if the king doesn't come every day, he will pay fine to Anant Padmanabh, pay a fine and he say, sorry, I couldn't come yesterday, I was sick or something like that. Very, very personal worship, very personal worship. And from Anant Padmanabh ji, when we come out of the city, I told you earlier, the whole city is named under Lord Vishnu. Where originally Anant Padmanabh ji's head was there, the 18-mile long deity, that place is Tiruvallam. It is under Sri Vallabha. Then the lotus feet is Tripadapuram, where you can today see lotus feet. And there are many, many towns. So, from Anant Padmanabh ji temple, 10 kilometers towards south, there is a small village called Neyatinkara. Little difficult to pronounce. Neyatinkara, which simply means riverside. It means riverside. So in riverside, there is a tiny, beautiful Krishna temple. So one day this king, his enemies attacked him, and somehow he lost in the battle. The king of Travancore lost in the battle. And the enemies were chasing the king, and king was all alone, and there were like 18 soldiers chasing the king on horses. So when he came to that particular village, Krishna actually appeared there and told the king, you please go inside. There was a huge banyan tree, and in the banyan tree, there was something like a burrow. There was like a hole. So he told the king to get inside the tree's hole. Krishna told him, and the king got inside the tree's hole. And Krishna told the soldiers who were chasing the king, showed a wrong direction and told the soldiers to go in a different direction. Even today, you go to this village, you can see the tree with a very huge burrow. It's kind of a huge hole where a person can walk in. The tree is still there and it is preserved. Amazing, amazing pastimes have happened in Anant Padmanabh ji. So many pastimes. And one interesting pastime is some 80 kilometers from Trivandrum is Cape Comorin, Kanyakumari, and near to that place is a Nambi Koil. Nambi means student. In Sri Sampradaya, Nambi means student. The deity is called student. Amazing pastime. Ramanujacharya with his 10,000 disciples went to the temple. Ramanujacharya had thousands and thousands of disciples. And he was teaching. And the deity asked Ramanujacharya, "Oh, Acharya, when I came and spoke Bhagavad Gita, very few people listened and followed. I could not influence so many people. When I spoke Bhagavad Gita, I had only one student, Arjuna. Then very few handful of people followed Bhagavad Gita and all this spirituality. How come you are able to influence tens and thousands of students?" Then Ramanujacharya smiled and said, "My Lord, if you want to know the secret, you should become my student. Otherwise, I won't teach." So Ramanujacharya cracked a joke to the Lord. If you want to know the secret, you should become my student. But Ramanujacharya totally forgot about it. But actually, Lord Vishnu became a student of Ramanujacharya. One day, a brilliant, glowing, Tejasvi Brahman boy came in front of Ramanujacharya and said, "I wanted to be your student." Ramanuja saw the beauty of this boy, captivated by this beauty and glowing radiance. Ramanujacharya said, "Yes, okay, join." And this boy was always carrying the bags of Ramanujacharya, his sleeping mat on his head, because they used to carry these things from one place to another. Ramanujacharya's water pot, a mat, his sleeping materials, his book bag. He was carrying and running in front of Ramanujacharya from village to village to village to village. And when Ramanujacharya came to Trivandrum, this student also came, who is none other than the Supreme Lord. So when Ramanujacharya stayed here in Trivandrum, he was teaching to all his disciples, including the Lord. So that beautiful pastime also happened in Sri Ananta Padmanabh Ji Mandir, So that is there. Then, right in front of Anant Padmanabh Ji Mandir, there is an ashram called Abheda Ananda Ashram. Amazing. In this ashram, right from 1955, chanting if the holy name is going on unbroken. From 1955, almost like 65 years now, day and night, like in Vrindavan, ISKCON, Hare Krishna Mandir, we see this Akhandana, 24 hours Kirtan, going on for last 10, 20 years in ISKCON. Same way, for last 65 years, 24 hours Kirtan is going on in this ashram. And in 1955, that Swamiji Abhedananda, he was worshipping Gornitai. He has a Gornitai picture and he worshipped that. Very strange because nobody knew about Gornitai in South India in 1950s and 40s. This sage was worshipping. So, actually, when Lord Chaitanya came to Anant Padmanabh Ji Mandir, he took a bath in the huge pond in front of the temple. In the front of the temple, there's a huge, very big pond. Lord Chaitanya took bath in the pond and he went to this particular place where now Abhedananda ashram is there. And there was a huge banyan tree. So Mahaprabhu sat down under the banyan tree and chanted the holy name. The influence of that Leela, even today, people are chanting holy name from 1955. You have to book your name, you have to register your name. And days are booked. They will tell it's booked for next 4 months. You come in next July. That's how they give date, So one person comes, he takes a veena, and 1 hour he chants Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare. 1 hour. And nobody should keep the veena down. And exactly the next registered person will come and we'll be waiting. And very respectfully, obediently, he will receive the veena and he will continue chanting day and night. And if you want to chant, you have to register your name and you will get only after 4 or 5 months. So the chanting of the holy name is going on. And amazing. And one more interesting thing is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur came to Trivandrum and he was the royal guest of the palace. He became a guest of the royal palace and he came and gave lectures in the main town hall built by Britishers. The town hall is in the center of Trivandrum. It's called Victoria Jubilee Town Hall, something which looks like, railway station in Mumbai, very ornated and gigantic. So in that, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave a talk. He stayed for 2 weeks in Trivandrum and completed a book also. He was a royal guest. And a very sweet thing is, ISKCON was able to establish Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet inside Anant Padmanabh Ji Mandir. Like you can see Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet in Udupi, in Srirangam, in Dwarka, in Jagannath Puri. That's all established outside the temple. But here, the king gave permission to ISKCON devotees. So ISKCON devotees, headed by many Maharajas, His Holiness Shubhag Swami Maharaj, His Holiness Banu Swami Maharaj, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. In 1998, many Prabhupada disciples, they had the honor of installing the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya inside Anant Padmanabh Ji Mandir. Such a beautiful, holy place. We request devotees to make a visit, have darshan, and take blessings from the Lord. Anant Padmanabh Ji ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
RG Media YouTube channel. Like, share, subscribe.